That's what I do. Okay, let's start. Well, I had a whole bunch of other topics, some interesting topics to discuss, with Andrew Wilson, today's guest. And Andrew, I'm really, really thankful and glad you could join us today. I hope you're doing well. I know I see you've been making the rounds. Saw you're on Timcast the other night, and then you travel back this morning, and now
Uh,
you're.
I was home late last night,
Was it last night you were on or Monday?
Monday.
Monday.
Or yeah, I flew out.
Yeah.
I flew out Sunday.
Hey,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just saw you weren't live on Rumble, but now you are. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it takes like a minute. Yeah, so that's always fun. I tuned in for that, and then that's when I realized. I think when I was like, oh yeah, he's not. I was like, wait, how's he gonna? He's gonna have to fly out late, and then he's gonna. I'm like, oh, maybe he'll be on the show from the, from the
Live from the plane,
hotel
live
or
from the airport.
something. Yeah, live from the airport or something like that. But for people that don't know, I'll wait till for people to shuffle in here, and then I always like to give people an opportunity to let folks know what they're up to, where they can find them, and all that kind of good stuff. If people have been living under a rock, we had yet another trans youth go into specifically a church service of students of a Catholic church in down Minneapolis. This was a white male who identified as female, whose parents let him change his biological name before he was 18, from Robert to Robin. So it seems like supportive parents. We have his manifesto. We have all sorts of stuff to discuss.
You mean supportive in the way that they supported the transition?
Yes, like it. Right.
They always say that socially supportive parents will stop any sort of wrongdoing. That's obviously not the case in this shooting, as with all the other ones.
Yeah, I read the manifesto, and it was actually pretty kind. It was like this person apparently had good friends, good family, loved his family, was trans, probably on SSRIs, I'm going to guess. Who knows what other potential hormone stuff they might have been on. And, essentially created a copycat of the Nashville shooter from 2 years ago. I believe it was a year ago in Nashville. Same target, same, what, obviously everyone's going to rush to politicize this, but I think the one, factor that is, there's one factor. If Luke says it's MK Ultra, which I'll let him talk to. But I mean, I will say that, it seems like we have a really high percentage of trans lunatics, violent lunatics in the past couple of years. My question is, I'll kick it to Andrew, just get your initial thoughts on everything that happened today. And, but I wonder if my theory has always been well, if being trans was the hot cultural thing when the Columbine kids did it, they'd probably have been trans too. I think there's something demonic or related with the people that are doing this. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on? I mean, I know the news is fresh, but what do you think? What's going on with this?
Well, I mean, these are mentally unhinged lunatics, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really much more to say right now. We don't know much. There's a manifesto which is out there. I was seeing a lot of that on Twitter, and apparently some videos. There was apparently some videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's real fresh. We don't know much about it, and it'll get buried in the media in about a week.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of tomorrow, probably.
Yep.
I also think we would never have known that they were trans, a trans pro-Palestine person, if they didn't out themselves. I'm left thinking, boy, it sure was convenient that this lunatic uploaded everything to YouTube, because now we don't have to spend the next month. I mean, if you saw what happened in Nashville, Nashville protected that shooter's identity to a level of, you know, I don't know, like,
they really
do you-
did like go out of their way to try and suppress the manifesto. I mean, I think it's the Tennessee Star was doing a lot of reporting on that manifesto in particular. And I think Andrew's right, you know, things will disappear, but how many times does this have to happen to religious schools before, you know, somebody decides that this isn't something they're not going to accept anymore? I mean, what was striking to me about this was that it's the first day of school. They're attending. It's a Catholic school. They're having their K-8 opening mass for the school year. It makes me wonder how many of those parents are going to be like, "We're homeschooling. We cannot keep sending our kids to places that are becoming targets to crazy people."
Yeah,
I mean, very, very few, right? So,
yeah.
the case is that schools are daycare for children. So, and it's free daycare. So they're going to keep sending their kids to free daycare so that they can work and get by and this type of thing. So not much is going to happen on that front. The truth is that the trans ideology has completely taken over on the LGBTQ side. It's all anybody ever talks about. They don't even bother with gays anymore, really. They don't bother with the lesbians anymore, really. They really only hyper focus on this one kind of issue because they're the most mentally ill, crazy whack job troons on planet, and people don't know even how to deal with them, right? They don't even know how to deal with them. We don't even know what the rules are for dealing with them. And so the interesting part here is, like, I don't think that this will stop at all until you start locking these people up, putting them in mental institutes. I don't know what else you can do with them.
I agree.
What else can you do with them?
Yeah, well, there's a big, there's an argument. Go ahead,
yeah.
Luke. Yeah,
I think there's three kind of universal truths, even though the news hasn't really come in yet. There's a lot of unverified reporting happening right now. There's still even unknown number of people that are casualties or injured here. We still don't know a lot, but I think we know three things. One, you can never go wrong when homeschooling your children, and there's excellent resources out there for that. Two, you should always know how to defend yourself. I think these type of mental illness cases are going to dramatically keep going up, especially with how the left has a huge mental health crisis that I think is only being exacerbated by the fear mongering and sensationalistic type of news coverage that the earth is ending, climate is going to destroy you, Trump is going to imprison you. All this type of nonsense, I think, is not going to aid well, and it's not going to be addressed or stopped here. And then three, I think we got to be careful of the copycat effect here, because if you look at his manifesto, you look at his videos, he pays tribute to other school shooters. He pays tribute by not only writing their names on the magazines, but there's also one specific section where there's the Sandy Hook shooter, and I don't want to mention their names, I don't want to show their faces, but he's seen petting an image and paying homage and respect to the Sandy Hook shooter here, who obviously is very infamous because his pictures everywhere, his name's everywhere. So I think we got to be careful with the copycat effect here. Those are my kind of truths here from this type of event. The details still clear.
How can people be careful of the copycat effect? I mean, that's been out since Columbine, right? So, because ever since Columbine happened, the idea that you can just walk into a school and just liberally begin mowing people down has been there. There's not anything you can do to buffer against these effects except to have guns. That's it. That's the only buffer that people have is you got to have a gun, and you got to kill them dead the second they open fire, and you hope that they get few enough that you can take them out first. That's basically it. There's nothing you can do to buffer against this, and there's nothing you can do.
I think you can.
To stop these to stop the insane people. Now, the thing is, though, is like what's really funny here is we do have one thing now. We do have one thing that we can profile, where we can point out, okay, not only are these people weirdos, but maybe we should keep an eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe you should keep an eye on them. Now, what was the motivation, Jeremy? What did they say? What did the Troon say the motivation was for shooting up the school?
That, well, they thought they had cancer, lung cancer, because they vaped too much. And then that they have simply always wanted to do this, that it was their final act. And that, you know, the manifesto, from what I read, and I have it pulled up and it's all typed out and stuff, but like, there's not like, this is for Palestine or this is for, it's just, you know, I'm living in pain. I have depression. And this is how I've been dreaming of going out. That's what the manifesto said. I can pull it up here in a second.
It wasn't bullying. It wasn't the lack of acceptance. It wasn't any of this. It was just, I'm a crazy fucker, and I'm gonna go into this place. Why did the Troon say why they selected that place in particular?
No, but I did find his mother did work there and had retired from there a few years prior.
So knew the layout probably.
So knew
Yeah,
the
and
layout, knew the schedule,
School patterns,
yeah,
things like that.
yeah, and basically like he wrote like, you know, he was depressed. Obviously, I assume all these people are, or they convince themselves that they are, and but yeah, in his goodbye letter, like what you were saying, you know, what you were alluding to before is that, or you were providing better context. But everything in the letter seemed to be like, well, I just had to do it. I didn't have any other option. I just had to do this.
Yeah.
And then weirdly, he shouted out Brandon Herrera. And he was like, Brandon Herrera for president and this, that, and the other thing. I'm assuming that's a troll because in the video, I mean, we can watch the video, but like the video is weird in that he's clearly like a zoomer and he's just like saying memes like skibbity and stuff like that. But like it seems like a pretty just a normal dude who got obsessed. Like there was that shooter in Wisconsin that
The female
basically
one?
what's that? The female
Or
one.
you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
the female
yeah.
one?
Yeah. Who became obsessed with school shooters, and it seems like this guy did too.
Did he kill himself also?
Yes, he did. Yep.
Yeah. So
he
following
brought a
the
special
normal
gun.
trend. What was special about it?
Well, he brought a specific gun to off himself. I don't know. If there was something special to him about it, but yeah, he's a part of the 47% now, or whatever the percent is that people say, or that
I
is
thought
true.
in the manifesto he was describing how he's going to put the knife in his heart.
Well, in the video, he said that this one's for me, and I'm gonna, off myself that way. Now, he did die of a gunshot, but maybe he also stabbed himself. I don't know. I think stabbing yourself is very, very, very hard to do. I remember famously Elliott Smith did it, and I really liked him as a musician when I was young, and I was like, it's hard to overcome like the will to serve, like your body's kind of core will to survive. That's why people use guns, because you can just pull the trigger. But like stabbing yourself, I think is a pretty hard thing to pull off.
Yeah, this Brandon Herrera thing is super weird. I mean, there was also a magazine that had the words written on it, sponsored by BlackRock, which also is super strange and weird here. So I think, if we're looking for any kind of coherent understanding from a mentally ill person, I don't think we're going to get it. I think, not showing his face, I think is going to be, in my opinion, important. Focusing more on the victims, I think also is a little bit more.
I respect that, but I like showing their faces because they all have the same look to me. And I think if we get better at pattern recognition, like I could look at this guy and be like, I'm going to stay away from him.
Well, they have the blank, soulless stare, and there's also a lot of kind of evil, satanic type of messaging that was also inscribed onto the rifle as well. So, evil is just, I think, also an easy way to kind of describe everything that's kind of happening here. Demonic is another. Some people will automatically say it's satanic, but I think it does take a certain level of evil to do those type of particular actions, and it might be an easy kind of generalization, but I think that one is true.
I mean, Hannah Claire, what are the odds of you homeschooling at this point?
Oh my gosh. Well, there are a lot of factors that go into that. I think homeschooling is great for a lot of things. I would be sad if parents only did it out of fear as opposed to just being like, it's a cool way to give opportunities. What strikes me about this, of course, and knowing that the gunman, his mom worked there, and so therefore he knew kind of the traditions of the school, like to pick a school that is K through 8th in the middle of a religious service where everyone's going to be gathered into one space. It's just so cowardly. And if whatever this claim is, like I have cancer, so therefore I'm going to die so other people should, to fulfill my own ego or my own psychotic desires. Like it's just so messed up. You can't really apply logic to crazy people. And if you wanted to send your kid to a religious school, I wouldn't stop you. But it's sad that this is now going to be a fear that, like, if you opt to send your kid to a religious school in a city, you would just need to have one lone, vaguely attached lunatic who decides that their needs are more important than anything in the world. Because that was true of the Nashville shooter too, right? The person had gone to that school as well.
Well, didn't we have another church attack like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? But they had an armed guard there, and then they had somebody else who like ran him over, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was at a church. I mean, like, sorry, I don't know if I'm interrupting someone.
No. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Let's just say, like, there are different organizations, and I could name them specifically, but they'll go out of their way to say, like, here are the attacks on our types of people. Like the ADL does this, and they'll conclude that there are all kinds of white supremacy motivated attacks in the US. But I would be really curious to see, as much as you can, an accurate study of the attacks on religious schools and churches in America, because it's increasingly, to me, seeming like it's not an extremist from another religion, but people who are fed and indulged in their ideology, thinking that they are in the different body. And I think once you begin to say, like, oh, we accept you, you open the door for this kind of thinking. I mean, if this person is saying, I have cancer and this is how I've always wanted to go out, so I'm going to do it, like, what a horrible, selfish thought process that's obviously been indulged their entire life.
Yeah, let me bring up this manifesto quick. And we are going to talk about other stuff too.
As you pull that up, there's been 5 major kind of trans shooting school events within the last couple months that I think are worth talking about, because I don't think this is an anomaly. I think this is a trend that I only see being exacerbated here. But we had the Nashville school shooter, the Aberdeen school shooter, the Denver school shooter, the Iowa school shooter, the Lakewood school shooter, all being done by trans individuals. And I think this type of behavior and this type of drugging and giving hormones, especially to young children, creates a lot of unstable situations. And I think this is one of the byproducts of the left normalizing mental illness. And I think that's the issue that's very difficult to talk about, but I think it needs to be talked about in a rational way now more than ever.
Well, what is it, the chicken or the egg, do you think, Andrew? Like, are crazy people more likely to be trans, or are trans people more likely to be crazy? Like, it seems like this is, I mean, as a percentage, now, if we really include if we define, mass shootings are different than school shootings, right? There's a mass shooting every weekend in Chicago. But these like kind of planned statement events, like, is it just happenstance that they also seem to always be trans, or is there something maybe more sinister going on there?
Well, they don't. Like, the left is going to argue this out, and their argument's going to be, well, it's actually a small percentage of all of these shooters which are trans, but there's probably an overrepresentation of them which are trans, if you take it into like its per capita size, I would assume. The thing here that's really interesting is, I'm kind of reading through the manifesto, you have to remember that the entirety of trans ideology is defined by self-loathing. The entirety of it is defined by self-loathing. The whole thing is that you hate yourself, you hate your body, you hate everything about you, and so you need to change it, right? That's kind of the idea. The thing is even in this manifesto, this person starts off with self-loathing. I spend so much time staring at the mirror. When I do, I see something staring back, short-hunting. I hate that monster. I hate what I've become. I wish I was someone else. I wish I had never been born. Giving you the self-loathing glimpse into what it is that they actually think about them. So do I think that they start as crazy people before they move over to being trans? As far as the chicken and the egg, I do. I think that they start with the idea of self-loathing, and that begins to take over the mind.
Yeah, they even say specifically, like, I wonder how the news will report my attack. Will the school system even acknowledge it? Well, obviously, I assume they will. This isn't religion. It isn't politics. There's no message. That's the message. There is no message.
Yeah, and I do this for chaos.
Right. I did this for me. This is what I wanted to do. By the way, I accidentally started 2 separate YouTube streams at the same time, so I'm going to disable one of them right now. So if your stream ends, just go back to the main page of the YouTube channel and join the stream. I did that again. I did that yesterday because I'm trying to stream out to like 10 different spots to promote like this week and give our guests a big platform.